Hey everyone, today we're talking feelings. As many of you know, who are subscribed probably, that I am neurodivergent, or more specifically, I'm autistic, or if you prefer, on the spectrum. And I really struggle to identify my feelings when I'm feeling them because it's really hard when there's multiple feelings happening at once, and it's hard to identify where they're coming from and what feeling is which if you have multiple at the same time. If you're neurotypical or not autistic, you might be like, what the heck are you talking about? Understanding feelings are so easy. Well, then this video isn't for you. I want to help other autistic people to understand themselves better, and I hope this video can do that for you. So, I identify my feelings a little bit in a strange way. It's not by my facial features or my brain. It's where the feelings reside in my body. It took me a long time to come up with this system to better understand myself. It also took a lot of therapy. Before this, I usually would just shut down and hide myself from everyone I knew to better understand myself or not to subject people to my outburst. I tended to just want to punch something, but I was never strong enough to actually punch something, so I mainly took out my feelings on myself in harmful ways to release the feelings I had built up because I didn't understand how to voice my feelings, so I took them out on myself so I was not a burden to others. And this was very unhealthy, and I do not recommend, obviously, but I did what I had to keep myself alive at that time, so it is what it is. But now I'm going to tell you the system that I use instead of the unhelpful, painful ones I used to use. I'll start first with anxiety, since it's the one I feel, unfortunately, the most because I'm anxious about a lot of things. How I understand and feel anxiety is in my jaw and in my throat. More typically though, in my throat. You know that Greek legend / myth of Sisyphus when he's rolling the rock up the mountain, but he can't seem to because every time he takes a break it feels like the boulder is rolling back down, and then you go back up and it's just a repeated cycle. That's kind of how it feels in my throat. Like there's a boulder pushing its way up and then falling back down and then pushing back up, like I can't breathe. And I think this is a normal feeling, but I wish people would describe feelings more in a logical sense of what they do to your body than in just a general sense, because anxiety is so vague. Like, is it scared? Is it shaking? I don't know. I need you to be like more specific. So that's how my anxiety feels to me. My jaw also will feel tight in the back, connecting to my ears, and it feels like I can't get the words out. And I think this sounds similar to a panic attack, which I think is also helpful because, girl, what's a panic attack? Like, I'm not getting attacked by someone. So, again, those words aren't helpful to me. The panic is kind of attacking me. I guess that's the point. But that's how I tend to understand when I'm anxious, because it's just easier for me instead of the vague way people just say, I'm anxious. Girl, what are you anxious about? Girl, what does that mean for you? So, that's how I feel it anyway. Though anxiety has always been the easiest for me to define because it's one of the first feelings I ever had. And that's kind of sad, but it's true. I was a very anxious child. But anyway, next feeling, sadness. Sadness is kind of hard for me to understand because you can feel sad when you're happy too, because you're sad things are ending. And that always confused me. Like, why do I feel this sad, empty feeling when something good is happening? And that tends to be because I'm sad of the event ending. And empty is a good way to describe it for me. In my chest, my heart aches and it feels like it's dropping into my stomach. And that's kind of how sadness feels to me. Like, my chest is empty. And I also feel it in my eyes because they water. When I cry, I'm sad. I guess that makes sense. But I can happy cry too, so that's not that helpful. But anyway, I feel sadness in my chest. It's heavy and like I'm missing something in there. So I guess that's why they call it brokenhearted, because that's where your heart is in your chest, and it's more so in the middle where your heart is. I know they say your heart is like on one side. It's actually more so in the middle because your rib cage protects it. Sorry, that was a little off topic, but anyway, I feel sadness in my heart. That was weird, but like in that general area, your chest. Okay. Flustered took me a really long time to understand because it felt almost similar to anger to me. I felt like one of those anime girls, you know, the trope tsundere, because I was extremely rude when someone complimented me. But that's because, like, I mistook it for anger. Like, why is someone saying something nice about me? They must be teasing me. They must not mean it. But that was some more personal issues. I think a lot of autistic people understand because we can't tell when people are being sarcastic. So as a coping strategy, I thought nobody was ever being sincere, so I wouldn't get my feelings hurt again and just assumed the worst. And so I confused flustered and anger a lot. But I'm coming to understand it better as I get older and more people flirt with me, which I guess is true. I mean, I was never flirted with in high school, unless I was, because my friends say I was and it went over my head, which is also true of being autistic. I need people to be straightforward with me, okay? But anyway, back to flustered. When someone compliments me, I kind of feel it in my, like, stomach, like it's bubbling up. And I guess that's where the saying butterflies in the stomach come from. Though I don't really get that because it's not like fluttering. It's almost like I drank soda and I have indigestion and it's like bubbling in my stomach and like popping. So I guess that's where fluttering butterflies do come from, because I guess it could feel like that, but butterflies in the stomach just doesn't make sense. I'm gonna be honest, because they can't be there. But anyway, I also feel it in my face. Like, my ears get really hot, and so do my cheeks. And I think this is a natural reaction because of blushing. And not everyone blushes when they're complimented, but I always do. So that's where I feel it the most, is in my ears. And that's embarrassing because I always feel like I need to cover my ears because they're so hot. Okay. Next is joy. And I really feel sad for people who are not autistic that they can't feel autistic joy, because it's one of my favorite feelings in the world. When I'm drawing or I'm reading something about my special interest, I can feel it all over my body. It feels like goosebumps, like my skin literally tingles like electricity. And I know this is true because I have been shocked unplugging something, and it's a similar feeling, but it's like a good feeling, like warmth tingles, and you feel it all the way in your fingertips, and it causes you to smile. And just talking about it gives me that feeling of wanting to interact with my special interest, and it gives me that feeling of joy. And I can also feel it a lot in my hands because I want to stim. And if you don't know what stimming is, it's anyone can stim, but mostly autistic people do it. Common examples are like hand flapping or echolalia, which is when you repeat noises over and over again. I do hand flap, and that's where the tingling comes from in my fingertips. I want to flap my hands because I'm so excited. And that's what joy feels like to me, like a release of energy, like you feel rejuvenated and energized all of a sudden. It's the best feeling in the world, really. It's been a rare thing for me to feel that joy lately because the whole world is kind of on fire, but talking about it, the feeling brings me joy, so that's a bright side of this video. And next, I'm gonna talk about anger. And girl, I felt this feeling a lot as a teenager, so I understand it well because I was very angry at my circumstances as a teenager because no doctor could seem to figure out what was wrong with me, and they blamed all my symptoms on my mental health, but it ended up I had a severe case of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I was just going through a lot as a teenager. So me and anger, we're like this. We're twinning. So it's something I've come to understand well. I also feel it in my chest like I do sadness, but more intense. Like instead of an emptiness, it's a fiery hot. Like I feel hot in the chest and in my shoulders and in my face. I feel like physically hot. My muscles get incredibly tense as well, especially in my shoulders. It feels like I'm having a muscle spasm because my shoulders are so tight. That's how I've come to understand all my feelings, from therapy to just living with them for 23 years. I've come to understand my feelings a bit better, and I hope this video can help you come up with your own strategies for identifying your own feelings. Take note of what your body's doing while you can't understand which feeling is happening. Take note of the situation and note down your body's feelings, and you can connect what feelings they are for research. That's how I did it anyway. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed spending your time with me. And most importantly, everyone, stay weird. Bye!